We are in the building, bitches and bitchettes. Should we get a brother on?
Let's see if it works.
Let's see if it works, man. We're going to get the king in. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get some fire emojis. Let me get some love hearts. Let's get some bombs, whatever, gems. You know what's about to happen right about now. We're going to go in on some shit you might not never know nothing about. With my brother right here, a syncretist specialist. You know what I mean? Astrotheology, gematria, etymology, spirituality, words, man. We're going to go into words right now. Etymology, mother lovers, with none other than Mem DVG. Like 21 gun salute, all types of. What's going on, brother?
All good, man.
Yo, good to see you,
Can you hear me
man.
okay?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear us?
I've cranked you a bit more, yeah.
Yeah, let's crank him up a bit more, man, because we're going to go in tonight. I'll tell you that right now, bitches and bitchettes. Backed by popular demand. I'm telling you, Mem, you're one of the guests that people have mentioned a lot, like very often when they're talking about the show. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we're still growing. You know, it ain't like millions of people watching and whatever. But the people that have watched and given feedback, they've talked about the last show that you appeared on and just how much they were blown away by the information that you were giving, and just like how you managed to simplify things and make it a lot more understandable. And you know, I think everyone was touched in some form of way by some of the gems you dropped, man. So big up, and I really appreciate you getting back involved again on the show, man.
Likewise, brother, man. I really appreciate that you invited me back.
Yeah,
sorry, there's a bit of a delay. That's why it confused me. I weren't sure what's going on.
Oh, is there a delay? Yeah. So how was it? Like a few seconds?
In picture or in sound? What's the?
I think it's in picture. It's all right. I just weren't sure, but it's all good now.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
See, this technology is like, it's not perfect, is it? No. It's really trying to go on like it's perfect, but bruv, you lot are slightly delayed though. Like, we're ahead of you. Even if you think you own us, we're ahead of you, mother lovers. You're still slightly delayed. We have you know what I mean, the milliseconds where we could get out of this bullshit. Yes, bruv. Yeah, man. So today I was like, yeah, we should. We're having a good chat yesterday, and I was mentioning that I'd like to get into etymology. You know, Dan's always said, he's like, yeah, of course you lot are going to be into that, man. As the rappers and all that, MCs are definitely going to be interested in. And it's like, it's one of them things for me, man. You know, I just quickly want to say, is like, for me, when I found out about this stuff where you get to learn, like, you know, one word can be a whole sentence at a time. That one word was a whole sentence, or, you know, how many different meanings certain words have that you know of, but then the ones you don't know of that you find out about. I was like, yo, none of us are saying anything. Like, all us MCs, all the rappers who said whatever, there's a bunch of people who be going, no, you're not saying anything. That I don't hear what you're saying. Like, you're not using the right language. It's crazy just to think that, you know, like what we're so impressed by and what we're like, oh, that was crazy. There's a you know, a part of the world, so, you know, people around the world that are like, yeah, that's not, you're not communicating anything. You actually, let alone you're speaking a dead language. You're not even, you know, you're not making sense, like in the true form of communication and whatnot. So it just blew me away, man. And so forever then, I've just been always getting into it, like, oh, what does that word mean? Or what, you know, or what did that word mean? So we have dictionaries, right, that tell us the meaning of words, but etymology, can you break down what that means and what that is?
Well, etymology is basically finding the root of a word or where it comes from. Like, for example, a couple I can think of off the top of my head is one like anthropology, for example, which means the study of man. But the word anthropo from anthropology means man in Greek. So it's just finding the root of the word and where it comes from and what it means. And also it's like, that's one part of etymology. And then the other part of etymology is like connecting similar words and or interchanging particular letters to make new words. So, for example, like, do you know, like the Kaaba in Mecca?
Yeah, the cube.
The cube, yeah. Well, Kaaba and cube is the same word, basically.
Kaaba, cube. Kaaba,
Or you can have things like a cabinet as well, CAB, or what other one? Even stuff like a castle, for example, like the KA or the CA alludes to maybe like something that's squared or contains something, if that makes sense.
Quartz.
So
Like quartz.
also when you look at, for example, yeah, like we was talking about the word vaccine, for example. Vaccine comes from the word vacca, which means cow in Latin. So this is what etymology is, finding the roots of where the words come from, but it's also studying the individual word itself to see what's in the word. For example, so if I just look at my board now, let me bring it forward so you guys can see it. Can you see? Oh, am I doing it? Yeah, right. So you can see the word. You see the word driver?
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, there's something called maritime law, and which is related to legality, and there's the law. So what a lot of people don't know is that they're two separate things. The law and legalities are not the same thing, basically. There's only pretty much one law in the world. Do not harm or injure anyone.
Yeah, do no harm.
But legalities are rules. And that basically, the word legal comes from the word regal, which means king or queen. Because can you see my board here where it says interchangeables?
Yeah.
Well, what it is in the English alphabet, or not just the English alphabet, any alphabet, there's certain sounds that are interchangeable or are similar. So, for example, a T and a D can be interchanged in a word to make a new word. R and L can be interchanged. Like, for example, like if you, a lot of Asian people, when they go to pronounce an R, they say it with an L, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So instead of saying very, they would say veli, for example. And that's because it's natural to them, because R and L are interchangeable, and R and L also correspond with left and right. So they're opposites of each other. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And also you got like for example, letters like C, G, K and Q, they're all K, G. They're all similar sounding letters. So you can change them around to form new words, but they will have like similar meanings, for example. And also, I'll pull it down. As you can see, each letter has a number. It corresponds with a particular number. So also you can look at that and see how particular words, like for example, buy, the word buy, right? It means two, right? So if we add up the letters of buy, the word of buy is B and I. So B is 2 and I is 9, right? So 9 and 2 equals 11. But what you do is you have to break it down to a single digit number to get its value. So then 11 would be 1 and 1, which would be 2. So as well as by meaning 2, the numerical value of the actual word is 2 as well.
The numerical value of the word by is 2 as well. That's crazy.
So because obviously B is the second letter and I is the 9th letter. So 9 and 2 equals 11 and then 1 and 1 equals 2.
And that's still by. Woo!
So this is more gematria and etymology together, if that makes sense. So gematria is finding the numerical value of the word, and etymology is finding like the root meaning of a word.
Yeah. Yeah, like the history of the word.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And or like looking or looking within the word to find other words. So if I move this back up, right, so you can see, sorry, I've got to move it this way because you can see the word driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like I was saying, there's maritime law and there's common law. But what the police use on us is maritime law, which is the law of the sea.
Law of commerce, right?
Yeah, exactly, the law of commerce. But we don't live in the sea; we live on the land.
Mm.
So they're using the wrong. They're using the law of the ship and the seas on us. But we're not. We're not fishes. We're humans. So we shouldn't be using that law.
Mm.
So the way they've done that is through our birth certificate. By when we get born, they get our parents, which again, the word parent is a pair renting you. Your parents are renting you because what they've done is they've signed you over to the system. All a birth certificate is you're basically handing over your child to the government. That's why, like, you can't go on holiday during like school term because you're not owned by your parents. You're owned by the government. Your parents are just renting you.
Mm.
So even in the word parents, you can see the etymology in there. There's two people renting you, parent. But anyway, I've delved off a bit, but it's...
No, but what you're showing there is that the way that it can be hidden as well. Like, you know, just seeing that chart there with the interchangeables, you're showing there how these words can be hidden. And in that, you know, people just say parent because the way it looks like it's just saying parent, you know, the word.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's saying pair, rent. But then when you break it down like that, and then you like you said, once you look at the etymology and you realize that actually does mean that there was a time when that's all it meant. You know, throughout the years, as the years go on, words, new words come up and they give them a different meaning. But that doesn't mean that the original meaning doesn't still stand. You know,
exactly.
And that's what you're talking about there with the land and sea is like they've actually used the language to have people not really understand what that means because it's all to do with how you're processing what you're being told. And if you just process it in a way that you just, you know, it just sounds like that's what you're saying and that's it, as opposed to, oh, what does that really mean? Let me look at
exactly.
You know, terms and conditions are always in the small print because they don't want you to really see that shit. Obviously, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's the same principle. But yeah, carry on, man. This is getting crazy.
Yeah, but like what I was saying, so what they've done to us is they've put us under maritime law. So we follow like the laws of the sea. So obviously I'll give you we're going to do not a scenario, but I'll give you a scenario. So if I'm just in my car and I'm going to my mate's house, for example, right, and I get pulled over by the police, and the police says to me, oh, you was driving at 50 miles an hour in a 30, for argument's sake, I'm just making anything up. Right, if you say to the copper, then, oh, sorry, yeah, I was driving that fast. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Basically, what you've done is you've committed fraud because you've admitted to being in the sea when you're not. Because the word, as you can see, the word driver has D river in it. D river. So the river is corresponding to the maritime law. So if you're driving or you're a driver, it means that you're in the sea. But you're not in the sea because you're driving on land. So by you saying, yeah, I'm driving, you're committing fraud because you're lying. So this is the trick in the language. It's called legalese. So you got English and legalese. It's the same words, but the words mean something different in English and something different in legalese, which goes back to what you're saying. We think they're saying one thing, but in actuality, they're saying something else.
Yeah.
You can see, like, in the word driver, it has the word river in it, which is a maritime word, because river is to do with water.
And what would the D mean?
The D, I guess I don't know what the D means, but
D river, like to D something. If you decompress, D.
well,
it's like to take away.
the D is number 4,
Mm.
and 4 is death. So again, it might be correlating to the all caps name and the death, because obviously, again, if your name is written in capitals, capitals means you're dead. That's why on all of our identity cards and our passports, all our names are written in capitals, because that pronounces you as dead. So what they've done is they've taken over your estate, basically. They're looking after it for you.
Mm.
By you, like, admitting to that name, it's like you're admitting to be a dead person, but you're not a dead person. So again, that's where they get you, because you're committing fraud. And also, all names written in capital are crown copyrighted. It's property of the Queen. So, for example, if the policeman pulls you over and says, "Can you show me your ID or your identification?"
Mm.
Well, if you show him your ID and it's got all capital letters on it, then you're committing fraud, because it's not your property. It's property of the Queen.
Yeah.
So you're using something that's not yours. So this is where, like, the trick lies, if that makes sense. And also, if you look at the word identification, well, it's the same as identical. It's the same root word. So if you're producing something identical to you, it's like you're producing a copy of yourself.
Yeah.
It's not really who you are. You can't produce ID because there's no one identical to you.
That is crazy.
You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
all tricks with words. So, like,
Well,
if a policeman stopped me and said, "Can you produce any ID?" I'd say, "No, I can't, because there's no one identical to me."
Mm. And the thing is, as well, is like you said, once you show them that ID, now you've stepped into the sea. You've admitted that you're lost at sea.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then also, if you think about this, like, think about the fact that someone can steal your identity. Someone can steal your ID and become you. So how much of that is really you if they can become you just off of that piece of paper or that bit of identity or whatever? So it obviously isn't really you. This is like their copy of you, like you said. It's identical.
Yeah, it's like a copy and paste almost. It's
crazy.
Like the replica, basically. It's the replica version of you.
That's crazy, man.
So, like, there's so many, like, tricks. Basically, the trick of when you speak to a policeman for you not to be under their control is every time they ask you a question, you have to ask a question back.
You answer with a question.
Yeah, because if you're asking, you're as king.
Mm.
Yeah? But if you aren't swearing, you're swearing.
Mm. If you're unswearing.
So if you're answering, you're swearing. But if you're asking, you're as king.
So you're breaking down the word now and saying swear is actually meaning that you're swearing. And so that's a bad thing then?
Yeah, so if you're answering, you're swearing, because the word swear is in the word answer.
Mm.
But if you're asking, you're as king.
As king. And the king only asks questions. He never answers questions.
So just because they think... see, this is the problem that people don't know. We think that they have authority over us, but it's actually the opposite way round.
Mm.
The police are public servants. They're here to serve us. We're not here to serve them.
Yeah, they're meant to be constables, right?
Yeah. So, like, this is the trick as well. It's like you see a policeman, you start getting all like shaky and whatever.
Mm.
But no, like, if you haven't committed a crime, then technically, really, there's nothing anyone can do to you.
You know,
so, like, just say, for instance, policemen come up to me. I'm just walking down the road, and I haven't done nothing. I'm just walking down the road, and he says, "Show me your ID." I would say, "Why do you need to see my ID?" "Oh, because I just want to check who you are." "Okay, so what crime have I committed?" oh, you haven't committed a crime, for example. We just want to find out who you are. Well, I don't have to tell you who I am until I've broken the law. So what are you going to do now? So you got to keep asking a question. Right?
I like the way, because I was about to go, yeah, but you turned it into a question as well. Yeah, that's a really good idea, man.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because that's the whole point of the word. You know, like when you go to court, what do you do on a court?
You play games, isn't it?
Exactly. And when you go to when you play a tennis on a court, you're going back and forth. So when you're going to court, that's what it is. It's a game of who's going to catch who out, ultimately.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, I know people might think, what is this to do with etymology? But it's all to do with etymology because it's all to do with words, basically.
And the manipulation of words, right?
Yeah, and the manipulation of words. Like, for example, the word, like, government, which I rubbed out a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's government, which means to govern your mental, to govern your mind. That's what the government is. So we need to start looking at words and not just saying them. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's crazy. It's crazy how they can call it that, and it means that, but
no one realizes that it's saying what it's saying. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but what about all the academics and all these like learned people that like wouldn't they know this? Wouldn't they be like, yo, why are we calling it like governed mind? Like we shouldn't be calling it that. Like how comes it's just weird that, because I've heard that a lot. Like you've heard a lot of people that have been waking up during this whole thing talking about governare and mente, and govern means to control, and mente means mind. But and then I'm like, if we all know this, if we're, you know what I mean? It's like if we all know this and we're not like crazy academics and whatnot, and it's surprising that you don't hear that much from whether it be MPs or,
You know what, bro? They do know it, but they try and make you look like the crazy one. Oh, no, it's not like that. Obviously they know it is like that, but obviously it's a game, bro. They've got to try and trap you in it, because the whole point of them, their businesses, like the police force, is a corporation. It's a business. So every time they get someone or they give someone a fine, they're making money. They don't really care about your safety. The whole point is to make money at the end of the day. So
they're policy enforcers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a trick. It's a game. Everything's a game, bro. So like, and they do it through like words of you not realizing. Like for example, like the word parliament is parring lies to your parring lies to your mental.
Parring.
Parliament.
Wow. Parliament.
Meant.
And so that's how the language would be spoken as well, I guess. It's not like you have to add in all that, twos and the and.
No. It's just also when you go, for example, when you go to vote, what you're actually doing is you're voting. They've taken the L out of it because you're trying to put someone in charge. Yeah, they're using electricity. The themes of electricity within it as well. Because you're putting someone in charge. In charge of what? Charging your battery? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they're using electrical words. And also, you go to the pole, to the polling station.
To the polling station.
As a pole has two energies, North Pole and the South Pole. Oof. They're the opposites.
Yeah.
So that's what politics means.
Politics. Woo. Jeez, and that's the red and the blue, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Red
so Labour, Conservative. Who you putting in charge? Who you giving the voltage to? Who you voting for?
Who you putting your energy into?
Yeah. So it's just, it's all in the words, man. And like, for example, the word entrance. You're entering a trance.
Entrance. Oof.
So if you go into McDonald's and you're going into the entrance, you're entering a trance, and you are, because they mesmerize you with all these different colours and all these different things. Any entrance is an entrance, entering a trance, basically.
Deep. Wow. So it makes sense, because you definitely, like you said, man, them fake ass pictures. When you see the burgers, like you might go kebab shop or something. You're like, bruv, come on, man. This shit don't really look like that. Like, why you? It's all blinging. Like the kebabs there, like, you know. You got D'Angelo playing in the background, like Barry White in the background, baby. Burger just looking all sexy and shit. You go in there now, like, bruv, that don't look like the picture that you're entering a trance, bruv. That's why you eat it anyway.
Yeah.
That is
So,
crazy.
like, there's so many, bro. Like, for example, like if you go to a doctor, he's not going to heal you. He's going to give you a treatment. He's just going to treat your mind. He's going to make you think you're better.
Rap. Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Wow. I never even thought about that.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a treatment. Yeah, I'll just make you think you're better. And then it won't. And then you'll have to come back again and I'll treat your mind again. And then I'll just keep treating your mind. But I won't make you healthy. Well, if we look at the word healthy, if you can see it, it's in the corner here, healthy. And you break down the syllables, it's heal thy. Healthy is heal thy.
Heal thy. And thy is...
Like thy is yourself, like heal thy. So you're either going to get healthy or you're going to get your mind... What do you want to do? Do you want to be healthy or do you want to get your mind treated?
Ooh.
See, this is the difference. Like, where people don't know, they're all like spells, hence the word spelling. Do you get what I'm saying as well?
Spells, yeah. Casting spells.
Sorry, I'm trying to get because it's like the opposite way to where I'm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
you gotta work the left brain and right.
Yeah.
brain.
What other ones we've got? We've got for example, like the word like Donald. Donald means the ruler of the world.
Don.
And obviously the Don, yeah, that's like a simple one. But McDonald means the son of Donald. And obviously the McDonald's symbol is the Aries symbol. You know the symbol of McDonald's?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's the symbol of Aries, where the sun exalts in spring. And obviously, who is the son of God? The sun.
Yeah, the son of God.
Because if Donald is the ruler of the world, and McDonald is the son of Donald, then McDonald must be the son.
So
that's why it's yellow.
So going off topic a bit, but on the sun subject is so I can't remember if I asked you this already on or off air, but to do with people worshipping the sun.
Yeah, we spoke about it.
Yeah. And so there are people that worship the sun, not realizing they should be worshipping the Father who made the sun. Yeah. Okay. All right. So carry on. This is getting deep. Yeah, we're with Mem DVG right now.
Like, you know how we was talking about like the maritime law and how it's to do with death and all this. Well, that's why, like, when we wake up, we say good morning to each other. But if you're mourning something, it's a sad. If you're mourning, it means you're mourning a death.
MOURNI.
Yeah, but obviously they've taken the U out of it and just made it mourning.
The manipulation. Jeez.
So that's why, like, for example, you wake up as well. Awake. When you go to awake.
Yeah, when you go to awake.
Yeah, it's to do with death as well.
So when you're saying good morning, then you're saying a good sorrow, sorrowship, like good.
Yeah. I mean, like, in some ways, it makes sense because, you know, like how Nas says, sleep is the cousin of death. Like, for example, in his lyrics, like, I get it because it's like you've died and woke up again. I do get that concept. Like, but yeah, a lot of it is like trickery and just not knowing like what it's really saying. And like you said, these words have two meanings. In English, it means one thing, but in legalese, it means something else. Do you get what I'm saying? So, for example, like the word crown, which has the CR corresponds with Kronos, and then you have own in it. So the crown, the queens, they own everything. It's in the word. Crown.
Own. Wow. Yeah. They
So
own
obviously,
everything.
I've just picked like a few words here.
Jeez.
Like there's so many other words. Like another one in relation to the whole maritime law is, you know, like how in the road you have an island.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, why would you have an island in a road? Because again, it's corresponding to maritime law. They're using the law of the sea on the land.
Well, they call the roads lanes, don't they? Like lanes, as in like canal lanes, as well. So you got lanes, you got islands. Jeez, boy.
So basically, we're being run by a bunch of pirates. In simple terms, the government, all these people, they're pirates.
Market is the sea, right? El Mar.
Yeah, maritime. Yeah.
Maritime. Fucking hell, boy. These lot. Jeez. It's there. It's like there in our face.
Yeah.
Yo, we're going
marine.
deep.
The word marine as well. Mary. Like like you could go on and on and on, but like, yeah. What other ones have I got up there? I'm just trying to look at. Oh yeah, like for example, the word Solomon. Like as in King Solomon or the Temple of Solomon. Solomon is the sun and the moon.
Moon. Solomon. Jeez. Moon day, Monday.
Because obviously the moon is solo, and so is the sun stands solo in the sky, but the moon is mono, which also means on its own as well. Because in Greek, the word mono or monosul means on your own, and the word solo means on your own as well. So it's just like, yeah, it's just looking at words and breaking down the syllables and seeing what they really mean. Like, for example, in the word river, right, you have IVE. Can you see that?
Right.
Well, I and E are interchangeable. So if I change that I to an E, it would be Eve. You would have Eve in there. And water corresponds with the feminine principle. The mother, the waters. Do you get what I'm saying? So like you could start making connections like that as well.
So places that were called Iva would then correspond to that. Would that make sense?
So for example, like
Iva,
Avenue, Ave as well, that's to do with Eve.
Wow, Ave Maria.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Ed Mother Love was singing that shit out there.
It's just, yeah, I know, like, someone listening think, like, yeah, why would you need to know this? But it empowers you because you know what they're really talking about rather than just hearing it as a word. It's like we just chat mumbo, like most of us, but we don't even know what we're saying. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, that's one part of etymology, like, just breaking down words and like checking the syllables out and seeing what they really mean. But then there's another part of it where you can do like comparative studies with other languages and see how like words lead onto other words and stuff like that. But like for example, at the bottom, I writ the 7 planets out and I writ like words corresponding to them. So for example, like for the word moon, you have like mono, month, monitor, demon. Demon is a deity of the moon. That's what it's short of for.
Wow. Demon. And it got demonized.
Yeah.
What way to make a word, to demonize a word more than to actually make it.
Money as well. Money is to do with the moon. The word money. And then like for Mercury, you have words like market, Mercado, merchant, Merlin. Because obviously Mercury is in the middle of the week, right? And that's when markets are on a Wednesday. So that's like the correlation.
Mercury, yeah, jeez.
Obviously with Venus, you've got words like venue, venerate, venereal, Venezuela would be like words Venus. Like correlating with the Venus energy. Sun, you have stuff like sun, sonic, Sunday, sono. Mars, you have Mark, Marshall, married. Mars backwards is Ram.
Mm.
Jupiter, you have words like Peter, Petra, Pedro, and petrified. It means a rock, basically.
Petrified.
When something gets
Stiff.
petrified.
Yeah, it's stiff. Stiff as a
In
rock.
Greek, the word for rock is Pedra.
Mm.
So again, like you can see even in other languages how it connects. Yeah, Saturn, you got words like sativa, satellite, Satan. So like there's so many yeah, there's so much, bro, that we could go into. Like it just depends like where you want to take it. I've got more notes as well here I can look at as well. But another thing
let me just remind people where right here on some shit you might not never know nothing about. Myself, Mysdiggi, Dan DNA. We got Mem DVG breaking down some etymology for us, man. It's really, really interesting stuff, man. Shout out to the people locked in. The Detective UK, I see he's dropping some more factual information in the comments. Shout out to Reagantology. Shout out to Kenny Rebel, Yamar, Peter Lewis Kisser. People are enjoying this right now, mother lovers. Shout out to Gleam. Yes, we're loving this. IBMCs. There are people actually dropping their little gems as well.
Yeah, go for it. I'd love to hear some, man.
Really interesting, man. Well, IBMC says, tell him you're a fish. I think that's to the police or something. Kenny Rebel was saying every police station and court is registered at company's house. So that means that it's a corporation then, right?
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to what I'm saying. They're all registered. Even all the churches. Again, this is no disrespect to Christians. That like Christians will say, oh, we're holy and we're from God. But you're not, because if you're registered to the government, then you're registered to the corporation. A corpse is dead, which is to do with Satan, Saturnian energy. So any church says in they're serving God. If they're registered, they're not serving God. They're serving the devil. And that's the truth. Again, I'm not saying it to be horrible, but it's just the truth.
Gleam as well is asking if you've heard of Russian vids.
Yes, I have heard of Russian vids. Yeah, he's a flat earther, isn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
He says that he's saying some of the same stuff as you as well. So he's got a similar.
Yeah, makes sense because Russian vids is not in the circle I am, but he does videos with people I know, so that makes sense.
Right. We might have to get him on and chat to him, innit? See what he's about, man.
Also, another interesting thing with words, bro, is like you have a feminine version and a masculine version. So Adam is also a madam. Eve is also Steve. Don is also Donna. Michael is also Michelle.
Yeah, okay.
So you got that aspect to it as well, like the feminine and masculine aspect to it.
I thought Eve was Evan.
Eve was Eve, yeah. Eve means Eve. Yeah, it does mean Eve.
The masculine for Eve was Evan, I thought.
Steve.
But it's Steve.
Adam and Steve.
Yeah, Steve makes more sense though.
It's Adam and
Steve.
It's just like,
because
it's
Adam and
really
Steve, not Madam and Eve.
Madam and Eve, because man, it's like they throw it in your face as well. What better way to hide it, innit? It's like the best way to hide it is like let it be there in your face and you don't see it. And so it's truly is magic, man. All right, what else we got here? I think this was to do with the energy and stuff. Shout out to the Detective UK. He says that's why they put you in a cell. CEL.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
He also says politics also means blood-sucking creatures. Politics.
Oh wow.
Politics. Politics.
Yeah. See, this is what I love. See, this is a good thing as well about etymology is that there's no right and wrong. Everyone can kind of see it in their own way. Like, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, like the word government, we say it means government, means govern your mental. But people also say that it's government, which means go to the green mind. Because vern comes from the word vernal, which means green. So some people also say that government means go to the green mind.
And what does that mean, go to the green mind? Go for the money?
I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. To me, I think the government makes more sense than go to the green mind. Like, personally, do you get what I'm saying? Because if you're going to the green mind, that's a good thing because your green mind is your heart chakra. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
I guess in that it's the interpretation then of whose mind are you governing. If you're governing your own mind, then I guess maybe that is going to the green mind. But if you're using, and it's that thing of, like we're saying, this is basically all ancient, like secret, you know, mystic teachings that, you know, only a certain crowd would know about, and they'd go out and be the priests and the Brahmins and whoever, like, you know, the people that would be higher in terms of spirituality and knowledge and whatnot. But then, like, so with this, you know, it makes me wonder, like, you know, how far does it go, you know, where people start interchanging words and then this means that and that means this, and then, you know, you kind of get lost with.
Yeah, but it's just understanding, like, the sounds of the words as well, and like knowing how they could. It's like you can just feel it, if that makes sense. Like k, like, and Q and K, you can tell they're similar, right? Because they've got a k sound. They've got like they've got a similar sound. Like O and U or O. It's just like you can tell they're related because they have like they're phonetically similar. Like when you say it, like it sounds the same. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not just by saying this is interchangeable with that. You've got to kind of feel it within you as well. So like,
because there's a vibration to every.
Every word is a vibration. So it's just
the word made flesh, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just knowing what each vibration is. Like, for example, like I'll give you an example how, like, you might think someone might say like P and the letter P and the letter F are interchangeable. Like someone might say, "Oh, how's P and F connected?" So if you look at the word like phone and the name Phil, you don't spell that with an F. You spell it with a P. So, but it don't sound like a P. It sounds like an F.
No, but there's an H there. So, we put the H there just so that you'd realise like it is an F, but it's not an F. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a
you get what I'm saying? All
why do they do that?
Like this.
We even had Pfizer as well, which is like
exactly. Pfizer, exactly.
It's got P and an F.
PF. What the?
Do you get what I'm saying? So like the word fire and the word pyro are exactly the same. Are exactly the same word because the P and F is interchangeable. The Y and the I are interchangeable. The R stays the same, and O and E is interchangeable. So pyro and fire are the same word.
Yeah, that's good.
So
break that down. Say that again, bruv. Wait, say that again.
So basically, you have fire and you have pyro, right? So look. So let me get my board and show you like how. So here I've got F and P are interchangeable, right?
Wow. Yeah.
A, E, I, O, U, and Y are interchangeable.
Wow.
And yeah, so obviously, so let's take fire. So F for fire, and then for pyro, it's P, right? For the first one. And then the second one, for fire, it's I.
Yeah.
For pyro, it's Y.
Yeah.
And then the R stays the same. And then obviously, you got for fire, the last word is E. And for pyro, the last letter is O. So A and E are O and E are interchangeable. So that's like when you can interchange words and like decode them. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's the same word. Like for example, like the word Ireland, right? Well, Ire or Irie means fiery. And then obviously if you add an F on the beginning of Ire, you get fire. So Ireland basically means the land of the fiery people.
Whew, they're not wrong there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fiery
exactly.
fiery
That's what I'm
haired
saying.
people.
Right, yeah, but do you reckon that's what they meant when they're saying, yeah, their hair
well,
is
it
like
must
fire?
be. Do you get what I'm saying? Because, like,
No, but I saw something today as well about the Comanche words for European countries, and the one for Ireland was people with red manes.
Wow.
Exactly.
So it's just, you know.
there you go, brother. See, like,
Jeez.
so it's just like knowing things like that. So what's another one? So, for example, the word in Norse for Mars is Tyr or Tyr,
Tyr, yeah.
Tyr.
Yeah.
Well, Mars is about action, fighting, war. So when you get words like tyrant, tyranny,
Tiffany, whoa.
do you get what I'm saying? So like when you know like little chunks of words and then other words it can make, that's where you start making the connections. Like for example, Saturn and satellite. Like people might think, oh, what's the connection between Saturn and a satellite? Well, Saturn is the furthest planet away from us. It's the highest in the sky. So then obviously a satellite is high in the sky. And then you get the word sativa, which makes you high. So you can see the connections between all the words. Whereas the word indica gets you stoned. Well, car, the word car in indica means earth.
Earth.
So an indica gets you stoned and a sativa gets you high. But it's in the words when you know some of the syllables or like like I said, car means earth and sat or satellite, Saturn, Satan.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturn's day. Yeah, again, like we could, like for example, we'll go through the days. Like Sunday is obviously the day of the sun. Monday is the day of the moon. Tuesday is Tyr's day, which comes from Norse, which is Mars. Wednesday is Woden's day, which is Odin is Mercury. Thursday is Thursday, which comes from the Norse word for four, for Jupiter. So Thursday relates to Jupiter. Friday comes from Freya's day. And then Saturday comes from Saturn's day.
Who's Freya?
So Freya is Venus in the Norse mythology.
And Venus in Latin is Venus, or Spanish anyway, Venus. And then
But like the day of, that's why Muslims
French,
pray on a Friday, because it's to do with worshipping Venus. It's the day of congregation, basically.
And then Jews on Sabbath.
Exactly, Sabbath on
day,
Saturday.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Sabbath,
brother.
Saturn's day, because they have
Saturn's
the little black box on their arms and their head for Sabbath.
Exactly.
The Kaaba, they have the cube.
So how does the cube? So this is we'll go back to the cube, which is and so it was related to Saturn apparently.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
how is it related? How is a black cube? Because I've started now that like I was saying to you last night. I was like, yo, since you start seeing these things, you can't unsee them, and it's like even on the emblems. You know, like I watch UFC. I'm sure some of the crew watch UFC as well. And it's like, you see, like they were walking around, some of the fighters, they'll be going to their weigh-ins and they've got this like new kind of mask that the UFC had. And it was like a black cube. When they put it on their mouth, it was like a black cube. When they had it on their chest, it was like they have a black cube hanging there. They've also got, what is it, this crypto coin something promotion and whatnot. And it's the emblem on the chest is a cube. You know what I mean? It's hidden, but it's like, you know, when it's,
well, basically,
they hide it in the hexagon.
I could go into a bit of a. I'll explain it to you. Basically,
yeah. What's the relation with cube and Saturn?
Well, basically, in the Bible, it says Satan rules the air and the earth. So what that's talking about is the air would be Aquarius and the earth would be Capricorn, which are the two Saturn signs. So obviously, in the Platonic solids, you have the tetrahedron, the octahedron, the hexahedron, the icosahedron, and the dodecahedron. All of them correspond to a particular element. So the cube, which is the hexahedron, which has 6 sides, is corresponds with the element of Earth, and also, but if you was to open up a cube and lay it out flat, it makes a cross. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I heard
So
that.
basically, that cross symbolises death.
And which is
which is why it corresponds with Saturn. So that's why the cube corresponds with Saturn, because that's why Jesus gets crucified in Capricorn in Saturn, which is ruled by Saturn. Do you get what I'm saying? So he's getting crucified on the cube, which is Earth, which Saturn rules Capricorn, which is an Earth sign. So again, it's just knowing. So
it's like he came to Earth to be crucified.
Yeah.
On the cross. Yeah.
We all have, basically.
Yeah.
The story of Jesus is the story of us. It's not about a literal man that lived and he came and he died. It's an analogy. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, the cube is to do with the cross, basically. So that's why it correlates with Saturn.
Right. So now, man, so why would they be putting these emblems out there like that? Like, why is all the symbolism out there like that for us?
Because all these religions think they're worshipping God, but they're worshipping Saturn, but they don't know because of their ignorance. Like Muslims walking around a Kaaba 7 times. Oh, why number 7? How ironic, number 7. It's not 4, it's not 2. You walk around it 7 times. Well, Saturn is the 7th heaven. The Kaaba is the cube, which is to do with Saturn. And there are 7 planets. So your 7 journeys are talking about the 7 chakras, the 7 colours of the rainbow, which is the physical world. You're worshipping the physical world. But you think you're worshipping the source.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? But people don't know this. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just like, and you tell people this and they're like, oh yeah, it's like they can't take it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like all this symbology, like they won't, obviously they will tell a Muslim person, oh, the Kaaba was put there by Adam and so, and then it was where Muhammad had a pilgrimage to, and this and that, but they're not telling you the esoteric meaning behind it. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
and is that because they don't know it themselves? Do you think?
Of course they know it. They just don't want you, because if you knew what it meant, you wouldn't follow it. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, it's a trick. Again, it's another way. It's just another trap, basically.
That's amazing, man. And then it all goes back to, because people will be like, yeah, but why are they doing it? But when we talk about the energy, the fact that you're putting your energy into these sort of
you're
corporations.
feeding your energy in. It's like, you know, when people go to the Vatican in Rome and they're going to like hail the Pope and all that. That is the most. If only they knew what they were really doing. Oh my God! Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, because the Vatican controls the whole world. Because it's like they have a holy trinity within themselves. So you've got like the Vatican rules the so-called spiritual side. London, the city of London, is the financial capital, and Washington is the military capital. So they're like a little holy trinity within themselves, if that makes sense. That's why England and America can go around the world doing what they do, because they're funded by the Vatican.
And so the Vatican are funded by the world.
Well, yeah, basically they are, because they trick people into believing that that's how you can get your salvation. Like, why would I need that? It's like, it don't make no sense when you think of it logically. If you want to connect with God, why do you need a middleman to connect to God? Why can't you just do it directly? Do you get what I'm saying? So they're all tricks, bro. Like even they say that the Vatican created the religion of Islam as well. There's a really good documentary by a guy called Eric. I think his name is Eric John Phelps. And there's a podcast about how they created a new religion to create division, basically, and this way there would be wars generated and they could make money from it and so. Do you get what I'm saying? There's so much deep stuff that people don't know. It's almost like painful knowing it and not being able to kind of talk to people about it properly, if that makes sense. All of it, the etymology side, the astrological side, the numbers side, it's just basically what I feel like what I do with researching is like I'm just decoding the matrix that we live in, basically. That's all I'm doing. I'm just understanding this system and how it works, how it functions. So once you understand it, you can't be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Like, for example... Oh, go ahead, brother.
No. Go on.
Oh, I thought Dan said something.
No, sorry, mate. No, I didn't say.
For example, people don't know that, like, you know, like this whole corona thing, for example.
The Rona.
Like some people say they're exempt, for example, right? But you don't need, it's actually on the uk.gov website, you don't need no permission from a doctor to declare that you're exempt. Yeah. So ultimately, you're exempt if you want to be exempt.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
Yeah.
So, but people don't know that. Like, so for example, I thought, okay, if that's the case, then I'm exempt because I feel uncomfortable wearing it, because if I didn't feel uncomfortable, I'd be wearing one. So it's down to you whether you're exempt or not. Do you get what I'm saying, bro? If it didn't bother me, I'd wear it. So I'm obviously not wearing it for a reason. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was on the train one time, police come on. Oh, do you have a mask? I actually had one in my bag, but I said, no, I don't have one, sir. I'm exempt. And he's like, all right, no problem, mate. Literally, it took 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like, what I loved about it was like in rush hour, everyone was like looking, and I just literally said one thing to the guy, and he was like, all right, no problem. Like, he didn't challenge me to say, oh, what's your medical condition, or what is this, or what is that. I literally said, no, I don't have a mask, sir, I'm exempt.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, no problem. Because they know that is the law.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the true law. So if he knows that I know that, he knows that I know. So he didn't challenge me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've been through this exactly the same thing, man. Like, what you start realizing with all of this stuff, like, and like you were saying about people might be like, you know, looking into all of this though, what's the point and whatnot. But like you're saying, you start learning how to navigate through the system that you're in.
Exactly. You start to realize you have more power than you think.
Yeah, than you think. And also that not everything is as what it seems. Like, the words might read and sound like they're saying one thing, but actually they're saying another. And once you can break that down, you're like, okay, that doesn't really apply to me. So, you know, exactly. I'm not, you know, like, it's weird, man. But that's stuff. And also, for me, it's just really interesting because it's to do with language. It's to do with communication, to do with symbolism and how people process these symbols and whatnot. I just find that really interesting because the way that they're able to, you know, govern the mind, like we're talking about. Yeah. You know, it's some next level.
Yeah, it is some next. It's witchcraft, bro. It's magic. It is literally magic. Like, for example, like another one that I've been taught is that, like, just say for example, like someone tried to put it on you. Where, like you say, they tried to force you to have the vaccine, right? And if you say, see, even this, like, you got to be careful with how you, like, if someone said to me, oh, why aren't you taking the vaccine? If I said, oh, I refuse to take the vaccine, then if I'm refusing something, I'm considered a belligerent because it's like I'm going against what they're saying. But if I say, I appreciate your offer, but I decline your offer, that would be the correct way to say it.
Yeah, well, I was told that you don't necessarily decline, you accept the offer, because what you're talking about is the basically the communication within this sort of maritime law with how, you know, their whole system works. And so you can kind of see it in Old English where you wouldn't necessarily say to someone, nah, I don't accept. You'd say, like, I accept it, but on these conditions. And then it's up to them, and they wouldn't want to disagree either. They would, you know, so it's just this weird sort of, like, you know, it's a game. It's almost a game of communication and being like, yeah, you know, you can have this, but yeah. Actually, on these terms, I'd rather you had it on these terms, and then now you've got to either accept or decline, and the more it goes on, you start realizing, like, oh right, this is just a game, and I've just got to work out like what the rules are in this game, and I play it
exactly.
You know what I mean? And you can navigate, because these same people have also got to navigate themselves. If they're not trying to they're not trying to get quaxed up, or they're not, you know, want to be exempt from this, that, and the third. They're gonna have their avenues, you know, that you can go down, and it's just for the people with eyes to see it and ears to hear it. You know what I mean? They'll be able to navigate. Shout out to Broken English in the building, man. He says, we all spend our lives believing and wanting something we can't have. It's just about, if people feel good, then just let them be. Don't ruin the energy as long as it doesn't affect you. Exactly that, man. You know, and that's the thing. Is like, I think, like, it's tricky to kind of go about the same way you did when you start to learn more and more about the real world, you know?
It's very hard, bro. It's very, very hard. I mean, like, because once you find this stuff out and you think, like, because then you're going against yourself. Do you get what I'm saying? If you know that something's not what it is made out to look like, and you're going along with it, it's like, even, you know, like sometimes when I go somewhere and they say, like I'll give you like a really like quick example. Like, sometimes I have to go to like a dump yard where, like, if we get too much rubbish at home, you can go to a dump yard and chuck it there, basically. But I can't get in unless I show some form of identification.
To throw your rubbish away.
Yeah, so, like, for example, I would use it, I'd say, yeah, whatever. But at the same time, it hurts me inside, because I know what I'm doing is I'm committing fraud by law, because I haven't broken any law, so I don't need to identify myself. I'm just going there to chuck rubbish. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's just like,
you pick your battles, though. You know what I mean?
What's that?
You have to pick your battles.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, when, you know what I mean, for me, getting to go France and all that without any of the obligations that I put out there, I was like, right, this is mad. But when they're like, oh, you have to put on a mask, you have to put, I was like, you know what I mean? I was, hold it underneath the nose. Just, I'm not going to argue about that when I ain't had to do all the shit these lot are all doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to take some sacrifice, basically.
Yeah,
for
man.
Sure, I know what you mean, man.
Yeah,
but
you pick your battles, man. There's certain things that are worth the time and the effort to argue about, and then there's certain things where it's like, look, I can just hold it here. I look like I've got, you know, most of the time I didn't have it on properly. It's just like,
exactly.
You know, I don't have to be like making noise about that when I've managed to do all this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they think they've got you, but really you're fooling them. So you can look at it that way. That's that's the kind of mentality I had as well. Like, yeah, I'll put it on, but it's not even on. It's on my chin.
Yeah. When I went even to the doc to get my exemption letter, the woman was like, oh, can you put this on? And I just went like this. I was like, really? I just put it around my chin like that. And she all looked at me even like, oh, do you want the thing? I was like, yeah, thanks. It's like, this is madness, man. It's like robotic. Boy. Can you put this on? Yeah, can take temperature. You're like, yo. But
do you know what cracks me up about people, bro? Like, no disrespect. Like, it's just, people will sit there with a mask on their face smoking a cigarette. Like, where's the, like, or like, it's just weird, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Everyone, like, no disrespect, and I'm not saying I'm like some free kind of guy, and I don't go, I'm totally against the rules, because like you said, there's times where we just got to go with the flow. Like you said, choose your battles.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's weird, man. Like, people will be quick to criticize you, but not look at their own shit.
Yeah.
Like, for example.
It's easier, isn't it?
So, like, it's just, like, but when it comes to things like that, I'll put, like, for example, right? I'll just give you an example. And again, this is not bashing any religion or anyone's religion or whatever. But a Muslim, like, and again, I'm not judging anyone because no one's perfect. But as you know, Mice, I've been vegan for like nearly 6 years, yeah? So, for example, just say I'm walking down the road, bunning a zoo, right? Yeah. I'm just giving you an example, right? Yeah, and the police stop me and say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Right? But why not? You give me a who am I hurting by doing that? I say, I could turn around and say, you probably cause more harm than me because you pay for animals to get slaughtered every day, so that indirectly makes you a murderer. So you've broken the law, but I haven't. So who's right and who's wrong? Do you get what I'm saying, bro? So that's why I'm saying there's only one law in this world. Do not harm, injure, or steal from anyone. Everything else is bullshit. It's just rules. Yeah, basically.
It's legislation, which you said was
legislation. Right.
Goes back to the word Regis.
It's all right for you to eat a murdered animal and like lick your lips, and that animal's gone through all that pain and suffering, and then you're ingesting that pain in you, so you're just becoming a live fucking graveyard. But yeah, I'm breaking the law for having some plants. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, the logic, people don't think about these things. Sorry, I'm getting passionate now, as you can see, because...
Love it, bro.
Like, I feel like I do fight for what is right and for what is just. Do you get what I'm saying? But when you do that, you get made out to look like you're the one breaking the law. Do you get what I'm saying? So... it's just like there's so many double standards in this world. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a religious person, right? Some woman come up to me on the train and she's telling me about Jesus and the Bible and like this and that. So I said to her, sister, can I ask you a question, please? And she's like, yeah. I said, why are you wearing a mask? I said, no. I said to her, do you believe in God? She's like, yeah. I said, so do you believe that God protects you and serves you every day? She's like, yeah. So I said, okay, so why are you wearing a mask then? If you have faith in God, why are you wearing a mask? She said to me, she's gone to me, oh, because it's the law of the land. I said, no, it's not the law of the land. I said, it's a rule of the land. It's not the law of the land. I said, there's only one law, sister. Don't harm or injure anyone. I said, it's not. I said, that's not God's law. What you're doing, putting a mask on. I said, that's the devil's law. Because, like I said, you're not like by you not wearing a mask, you're not committing a crime. So again, do you get what I'm saying? Like, people will just contradict themselves left, right, and centre. We all do. There's not one person.
Yeah, it's the big contradiction is because law. LAW is land, air, water. And she said it's the law of the land. And it's like, yeah. That doesn't even make sense then. It's the
but the law of the land is common law. It's not legal.
Yeah,
it's not legality. Do you get what I'm saying?
As in the law of the land, as in like, this is how we treat the land. And then the law of the air, this is how we treat the air.
It's always been just the common laws of that land, basically. That's why it's called... That's why it's called common law. It's not made up by authorities. It's just the common law of humanity, basically.
But is the common law and the law of nature, like natural law, the same thing? Yeah. Is it the same thing?
Do you know what? If I'm being honest, I don't know if I could answer that question. I don't know. I've never really thought about it that way. But because you could say... Because in one way, you could say, yeah, it is, but in another way, you could say it isn't. Because obviously, it depends on the species. Like, for example, like animals kill each other, right, for survival and to eat, right? So that might not be a nice thing or a godly thing, but it's just the law of nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then someone would maybe say to me, oh yeah, so why can't we do it if the animals can do it? Well, if you want to compare yourself to an animal, well, that's up to you. And again, there's nothing wrong with animals. I love animals, which is why I am a vegan.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite animal?
What's my favorite animal? A dog.
Oh, for real? What? Any particular breed?
No, not any particular breed. It's just that I had a dog, and I got attached to it and see that it had feelings, it had a personality, it had a character. And after my dog died, it affected me. So that's when I decided that if an animal can affect me emotionally that much, then who am I to eat another dead animal? Because that other dead animal has feelings as well and has wants to live. Do you get what I'm saying? But then you get religious people say, oh yeah, but God said you can do it. No, God didn't say you can do it. A book said you can do it. God don't write books. I don't need a book to tell me what is right and wrong. I know in my heart what's right and what's wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, I don't need like a book to tell me what to do and tell me what not to do. Some people maybe do, but I didn't read a book to like change my lifestyle. I've done it because I come to the realization that I'm hurting other beings. Do you get what I'm saying? And again, like for everyone, again, this is no judgment to anyone, because at the end of the day, I used to do it for 33 years, so I can't sit here and judge other people for doing what they do, because like I said, none of us are perfect, and I was once in that position as well. So again, it's not judgment, it's just, I'm just explaining you how I feel and what my stance is currently. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. I don't know how we got to veganism, but
no, that's all good, man.
Anyway,
it's interesting, you know, about the food thing, because obviously everyone has their idea of what is okay, and I think at the end of the day, if it makes you happy, do you know what I mean? Like, other people shouldn't be too bothered about it. It's just unless you make it a thing, you know.
Well, like, you mean like, if I'm vegan, other people shouldn't be bothered about it? Is that what you mean? Yeah,
and vice versa. Like, if you're happy eating what you eat, then, you know, but it's just that thing of like, people feel like, oh, you think you're better because you eat so and so and so, and it's like, nah, I just prefer eating, this stuff. It's nothing to do with you or anyone. It's to do with me, because it's going into my body, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just so, it's a bit weird when there's a clash, you know, with people over what type of food they eat, man.
Yeah, I mean,
what kind
like,
of world are we in, man?
You know what though? Like, I know, like, I try to be balanced and to be fair, but it's actually a really big part, like, of even what's connecting with this whole corona thing, because people are getting ill because, like you were saying at the beginning, because we put shit in our bodies. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, if you put death in, if you're, like, let me rephrase this. If you're putting more death than life in your body, then obviously you're going to be ill. Do you get what I'm saying? Because obviously it don't mean if you're vegan, you're healthier than a person who eats meat. Because you could eat loads of shit and be a vegan as well.
Yeah.
I am aware of that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's not that necessarily
vitamins
are healthier than meat eaters. It's more of a morality thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what you prefer. What I feel better putting this in my body. You know what I mean? Whatever you prefer, like, that's cool. Have that. Like, I don't agree with it, maybe, but there shouldn't be any sort of clash with anyone, I don't think, over the food. You know, what it's like, bruv,
I mean,
eat what you're eating, man.
I get that to an extent, but at the same time, what I would argue with that, from my perspective, is that just say, like, you like animals or you like eating meat, for example, right? Fair enough, you might like the taste, but just say there was a set of people that liked eating humans and they wanted to kill you and eat you, for example. You wouldn't like it. So why I don't get how humans we think we have this kind of superior. We are superior mentally, which makes it even more worse that if you're more superior than the animal, then and you know better, then why would you kill them and eat them?
Yeah, but I mean, the argument will be made about like plants being sentient beings as well, and that they feel things. So that's where I'm like, you know what? Either side, it shouldn't really be, because you know.
Right. Okay, plants are sentient beings, but exactly that's the whole point. Plants give you life, whereas animals don't give you no life. You're eating death.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to what you're eating. You're just eating it out of pure like lower animalistic nature. You're tapping into your animal side. How can we expect the world to be a better place if we're acting more in our lower chakras rather than being the best version of ourselves? And again, I'm not having a go at people. I'm just explaining this because I feel strongly about it, and I'm saying it because I actually care. But because I'm passionate about the subject, it comes out like I'm having a go, but I'm not. Because, like I said, it's just I can't judge, but at the same time, we can judge because we need judgment to navigate in life. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, before I was vegan or not eating meat, I didn't know none of this shit. It's not a coincidence that since I've cleaned up the way I think and the way I feel, that all these stuff and I can notice all these things, and I didn't know none of this shit before. But it's not a coincidence that once I did start becoming a bit more plant-based and a bit more looking into like natural herbs and stuff like that all this stuff started coming to me. So like, I'm only saying it because I want the best for people and want them to like advance. Like me, I've always been overweight all my life. So I'm not one to like sit here and start. When I'm talking about this, I'm directing this at myself as well. I'm not directing it at other people.
Projecting.
Yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's why when I post things online or on Facebook about these type of things, I do it to remind myself that, oh, I'm preaching this shit, so I've got to preach what I've got to practice what I preach. Do you get what I'm saying?
When that 1 year celebration comes up, from that Facebook 1 year celebration of that post he did, or like, you know, that 5 year celebration of the post he did on Facebook comes up, and it's just like, yeah, I'm still there, bruv. I'm still there. Nah, I hear that, man. Definitely, brother. Yeah, and I appreciate the passion.
I'm not being judgmental, anyone watching. Like, please don't take it the wrong way. Honestly, whatever I'm saying it because I care for humanity and I care for. I just want this place to be a better place because it'll benefit me. It'll benefit all of us at the end of the day.
So, do you feel like that? Because the argument again, another argument. I like to play devil's advocate. You know what I mean?
No, it's good. Yeah.
So, like, people will say, all right, what about the fact that it saved lives? You know, like eating meat, like people, you know, some of your ancestors managed to survive just off of meat alone, you know, at a time. So,
what you mean, like back in the day? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but we're not back in the day, we're now. That's my argument. Do you get what I'm saying? If we lived in the fucking forest and in like in Africa, all them tribes people, yeah, I kind of get that because maybe they haven't got no other choice. So it's like a survival of the fittest kind of situation. But us living in cities and civilizations, and we don't need to do that. Like, for example, bro, I haven't eaten meat in 6 years. Look at me, I'm not exactly fucking a stick. I'm still like a big person. So what I'm saying is, like, the fact that, oh, you need it to survive is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's total bullshit. Like, I understand, like, obviously, back in the days, like, when they didn't have, like, civilizations and things like that, they would do that. I get that to a degree because, yeah, or maybe they just didn't know any better, or like you said, that's all they had. But it's just like, you can't compare, like, or people say, oh, lions do it, but yeah, but you're not a lion.
Yeah. The chat room is going off, man.
What's that?
The chat room is going off, man. This is
go
heavy,
on,
bro.
read some of the comments.
No. Carry on, because you're saying about the lion. The thing about the lion, and if you look at wild animals that eat meat as well, the parts that they go for are like the guts, like all the soft, the organs, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're not really about.
Meat alone,
they're not really all about the thigh and let me get a bit of thigh, bro. Let me get some rump.
It's the scavengers who eat all of the stuff off the bone, So you get the vultures and the coyotes and the bloody.
Yeah.
It's only they come afterwards, don't they? The kill is the important part. Of the kill is the hot organ.
And then they even go as far as like just giving you here's like boneless. Yeah, you scavengers.
Another thing that I'll add to that, bro, is like, for example, right, in a tribesman won't kidnap 1,000 cows and put them in a cell and they're all like bunched up together. They'll just get one, for example. They won't abuse it.
I've seen some pretty savage stuff, to be honest, where they club to death a whole field of animals just so they can eat them all. I've seen it.
Who's done that?
I've seen tribes where they basically set up a load of traps, trap all the animals in the field, and then you just go through the field clubbing them all to death.
Wow.
You don't need all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or the Red Indians that chased all the buffaloes around and killed loads and loads of buffaloes and all that. It's not it's not everyone's perfect, obviously.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
And I think like the main thing for me is animal welfare. I agree with you. That's the worst part about eating meat is the way the animals are treated. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to try and get meat that hasn't been treated badly, because that meat is going to be tainted by the experience as well of the animal.
Yeah, it's become an industry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean. Like by that, it's just. Yeah, man. It's just I don't know, man. I just feel like. Personally, like, it's not fair. But again, I get what other people would say, like what you said, like a plant is a sentient being, which it is, and I agree. But the only other thing that I would the distinction I'd make between that is, like, animals and humans are not planted to the earth. Do you get what I'm saying? We're free roaming beings, whereas, like, the plants and all the vegetables and stuff, they're created from Mother Earth for the beings of the earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but they travel as well. Let's not, you know what I mean? The seeds they got their mechanisms of traveling, whether it be through beings, like birds or mammals, or through the wind or through water. So they do travel as well. They're not just planted to the, it's a lot slower.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying, what I mean by that is, there are obviously, everything is sentient in the world. But again, I just think it goes down to, like what I was saying before. Yeah, everything is sentient, exactly. The reason why you eat plants, or more of a plant-based thing, is because it gives you life. It alkalizes your body. Whereas if you eat like not just meat, like fizzy drinks and other things, it makes your body acidic. So, but when you get cancer, for example, the only reason people get cancer is because their body's too acidic. It's not actually a thing in itself. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just because you've built up so much so much acidity in your body. It's like that's what then starts attacking your body, and then you die. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
well, unless you treat it, or
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But I'm just talking like in a general sense. Do you get what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyway, yeah. If you want to read some of the comments, yeah. I don't know how we got onto this tangent, but yeah. Sorry.
No, because it is the passion in it. Is obviously, and like I'm a meat eater. I think Dan, you eat meat. Yeah, I think.
Yes, yeah. So was I. I was eat meat for 33 years of my life. But
so with the sentient being stuff, right? And then what happens to? So what we do, we put ourselves when we die. Yeah, we put ourselves in a box and bury ourselves, 6 feet deep and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, it's harder to get to us. But if we didn't do that, we'd just be buried in the ground, I guess.
Right.
And what would happen to us? We'd decompose, or we might get eaten up by
some worms or whatever. Yeah.
So are those worms doing something wrong then when they eating us? You know.
Yeah.
Like, are they?
No, I hear your question. I know what you're saying is just like, it's just a chain of, like the food chain is what you're kind of talking about. I get that.
Yeah, it goes with someone commented that, I think it was the detective said that we're all here for each other's benefit. And that made me think. I was like, yeah, that's, all right, we're all here for each other's benefit. So how does that work? And then, I just thought of that, like,
okay.
How do you feel about
Fair enough, like, that's the food chain. But what I'm saying is, as humans, we're supposed to be, supposedly, well, I don't agree with this anyway, we're supposed to be the most intelligent species on this planet, supposedly. So what I'm saying is, if we have compassion and we have feeling for people, then why would you do it? Just because you can do something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Do you get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if we're supposed to be these intelligent beings, then why would we put another being through pain? And you can see that it's going through pain, and you're taking it away from its family, you're sticking shit up its arse to get it pregnant, and so you can make more stuff for it to breed. Like, what I'm saying is, if this was done to humans, we wouldn't have it. But what I'm saying is, I understand animals are not humans, but again, they have feelings, they have families, they have, I guess they're put here
plants
to
have
live
all
their
of
lives
these
as
things,
well.
my friend. But plants have both of those things you said. They have feelings. They have feelings and families.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just
Nah, this is the platform where we do this shit. We talk about shit you might never know nothing about. We got Mem DVG.
I don't know why we got into this, but it's all good, man. Like, at the end of the day,
it's a
if
cool
we don't talk, we
to,
don't learn from each other.
Exactly, and that's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what it's about, man. Like, at the end of the day, I do what I feel is the most righteous and best for me and for the planet. Whether it's not or whether it isn't, at the end of the day, I might find out when I pass away and when I get judged, if that is even a process. So I don't know, but at the end of the day, I mean, for this place to become a better place, I think we should, like, even if you don't cut it out totally, at least cut your consumption down. That's what I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and shout out to the common senses, man. The chat room have been going in, and balance has been a key word that I've been seeing pop up as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something we've all got to really kind of understand and get used to. Is just balance. It's like going neutral with everything, like making sure that, you're happy within yourself. And then obviously what comes out, what you're projecting should be that as well. You know what I mean? On other people, regardless of what you eat. And this is the thing, like, it's if you enjoy that, then cool. And you just don't need to even, maybe we don't talk about food then. You know what I mean? Like,
I've met, sorry, Mems. I've met healthy vegetarians. I've met unhealthy vegetarians. I was vegetarian for 15 years. I've known people who eat meat all their lives are perfectly healthy. I've known people who have eaten raw meat and they're healthy, but other people have eaten raw meat and it's made a meal. It's just,
exactly.
I think it is down to also how you feel about it.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the best you can and all you can to fulfill your life, so like you say, you cut down your consumption. If you like consuming, go and enjoy consuming. But if you think that consumption is a bad thing, it's going to weigh on your mind every time you go out and spend money on things and all the rest of it. So cut down your consumption. Do whatever is going to make you feel like you're doing your best. So as long as you don't go on about it all the time and then just be hypocritical and just turn and because that's you know, that's what people do is they end up saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and you're bad for doing that and you're bad for it. And then people look for the tiniest thing that they're doing wrong and then they judge them for it. You know, but if you just stay quiet about it and just get on with your life, you be humble, basically. Be humble and try and just do your best.
No, I totally agree. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like that the way they've done it, like the way it's been sold to us, or the whole concept of it, like...
Meat.
Yeah, like, I just feel like it's done in a way where, like, there's trickery involved, if that makes sense.
For sure, bruv. There's definitely... So, like, in all the food, man. Like, not... Yeah. Then this is the thing. It's like, if you... Not just that, then in that case... Look, go into your local supermarket, go into the, you know, confectionery, whatever they call it nowadays, you know, like where you can go and get liquor and all that. Sound in my throat, boy. And look around, like, look at all the shit that's there, like, all on the racks, on the, you know, on the shelves and whatnot. Look at the ingredients in that. And then tell me if any of that is grown anywhere in nature. So it's obviously something synthetic. It's obviously something that's messing people up, that's fucking people up. So... Shouldn't we even be angry at that? Shouldn't we be angry about the fact that people are walking around just eating and drinking this shit, consuming it, and not thinking anything of it, when really this might be part of the reason why they're getting, you know, the cancers and all that we were just talking about as well.
For sure, like, totally, bro. Like, it's like what you're saying. I mean, like, for example, we was talking about words earlier and I'm noticing what words mean and what they say. It's the same with everything. We need to do it for our food, what we watch. Even like most men sit there and fucking watch porn all day. That's not healthy either. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like you said, it's not just to do with food. Anything we consume affects our body, whether it's what we watch or what we listen to or who we hang about with. Like it's very how can I say, multi-dimensional. But bro, going back to just the last point, the reason why I would get angry or passionate about something or someone is ultimately because I'm seeing in that person what I used to see in myself. So really, when I'm getting whenever we get angry at someone, we're actually getting angry at ourselves because we're seeing maybe an old side of ourselves that we never used to like. Does that make sense? So really, by me getting angry or getting wound up or getting frustrated, ultimately, I'm criticizing. I'm looking at it's my problem because, like I said, I'm tapping into that old person of who I used to be, and maybe I haven't got over that, and that's why people get angry and people get frustrated. So I am aware of that. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm aware that really by people getting angry or even me getting angry, it's my own personal problem as well.
It's that Scorpio sting.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I understand it from both ways, like, but it's just like you said. I think what you said, Dan, like balance is the key word at the end of the day, and trying to just be neutral. And because at the end of the day, another thing as well that we need to realize as people is that I think we kind of our higher self or our intuitive and imaginative self thinks, oh, I wonder if we could live in a world where there's all peace and everything's all good. But again, that's unrealistic because we live in a world of duality where there will always be good and evil. So the only way you can make your life better is to make your immediate, like yourself better and your immediate surroundings. You will never be able to influence the whole world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, this is the thing I think about when it comes to a lot of things nowadays is like the fact that, you know, like what you broke down the last time we were talking on the show to do with the zodiac signs and how, you know, when people are born and they take their first breath, depending on where the planets are at that time, you know, that kind of corresponds to what type of nature they'll have, you know, what type of person they'll be, whether it be fiery, whether it be earthy, or and all these things. And then, so, you know, so with all these different types of characters about, you know, all these different spirits, all these different minds, you know, of course, they're not all going to be into the same thing. Some of them maybe are more drawn to, even their you know, their sort of zodiac placement, you know, means that maybe they're more into meat, or maybe they're more into, you know, alcohol, or maybe they're more into war, or, you know, that, like all these different things. So, like you're saying, maybe even if it's not a perfect world for everybody, for a perfect world, we'd all have to be thinking the same. And I know people go, no, it would be boring then if we didn't. But now we're all thinking the same, so we wouldn't think it's boring. Whatever anyone's doing, we're like, hey, I like that too, because, you know. But we're not in that. We'd never be in that. So there's got to be some kind. So I don't know how it would work, because what do you do with a person that has more of a martial energy in their birth chart? Do you know what I mean? That's like bound to want to get into some kind of beef, or always, you know what I mean? What in a perfect world, what would they be doing then? How would they be getting that energy, dealing with that energy? I'm sure there must be some way, some form of way. Maybe they become, was it a blacksmith? You know what I mean? Like or
you can go into boxing, or do martial arts, or go to the gym. Like, there's different ways that you can release that Martian energy. Do you get what I'm saying? Rather than go and beat someone up, use it on a boxing bag or whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? But yeah, like, it's weird, bro. Like, ultimately,
okay, but say someone who's more into eating meat now, in their chart, they're like, oh yeah, you know, because people are told that in it when it comes to like reading a chart and sorting out their nutrition and whatnot.
Right. See, I don't think it would be to do with that personally, because I think it's more of like, most of our habits and what we do are more societal rather than like, see, I don't know, because to be honest, I haven't looked into that, if like in a chart, if particular placements would make someone be more carnivorous or more plant-based, for example. It's never even crossed my mind, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So like, that's a good point, maybe, that I can look at. But I mean, I think it's more to do with, like realizations and like being molded a particular way. Like, for example, like I said, I ate meat for 30 years before I stopped eating meat. That was because I lived, or grew up in, a very meat-eating culture, which is a Turkish culture. Everything's lamb and this and that, and so I didn't choose it. It was just, that's how it happened, kind of thing.
So you feel like if you didn't grow up in that culture, you might not have been that, like, meat might have been something you might not have never known nothing about.
No, not I wouldn't know nothing about. I wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been the main focus of what I eat.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because there's people that still eat meat, for example, but they're not like, they don't eat it all the time with every meal or whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? But the culture I grew up in is a very meat-orientated culture. So that's why it was on my plate, so I ate it. Do you get what I'm saying? I didn't know it was an animal until I grew up. So, but what I'm saying is, maybe if I knew that it was, maybe my instinct as a kid would have thought, oh, I don't want to eat that.
Oh, that's deep, man.
Because if you, there's a video of like, you see in Islam, they sacrifice, there's a thing called Eid al-Adha, where they sacrifice goats and they give it to poor people, right? And then there's a video, it shows where they go to sacrifice a goat, for example, and the little kid whose dad's goat it is starts going crazy. No, they jump on the goat because they don't want the goat to be killed. Like, the kids start going crazy because kids are innocent and they're not corrupted. and they're more pure, they're more in touch with their godly side. So hence is why they would start crying. They think, I love that thing. I don't want you to kill it. So that's why, like, a kid would react differently if he knew what he was eating. But, oh, it's just meat.
Yeah.
But, like, do you get what I'm saying? So there's so many different ways. Like, we could argue about this for years and we would still never come to an agreement. You get what I'm saying? So it's just... Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just, like you said, each to their own. We're all on our personal, individual journeys. For example, I might not eat meat, but I might be shit at something else that someone who eats meat is better than me at, for example. They might have more discipline than me and not eat too much, for example. So we've all got our vices. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I also think, like, don't get me wrong, with the whole eating meat thing, I think you should definitely keep it to a minimal. Like, it is about that balance. I don't think too much meat is a good thing at all. But
depends what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you're doing. Yeah,
because it is sort of nutrient rich and quite, that it's not quite high calorie and all that sort of thing.
But it's like, as to the point where you need it, innit? It's like, when you have it more than you need it.
If you're working, if you've got a manual job and you work a lot, you can't just fill up on carbs all the time because you're just going to get...
Well, you can't be that man like sausage, you know what I mean, in the morning. It's
if you
like
burn it off, you burn it off.
Sausage.
If you burn it off, you burn it off.
Yeah, but it's not healthy though, is it? That's the
I don't know, innit? I think lard and butter and all these things, they're more healthy than they thought they were. The whole myth of like cooking things in lard and butter was really like a way of selling margarine.
I think olden days was like that, but now it's not as it's not as healthy as it was back then. In these in your greasy calf. You know what I mean?
Depends what it's been cooked in and who's cooking
it.
And,
Exactly.
And where it's from and all the rest of it.
See, the other thing is as well, you've got this kind of split when it comes to food about like health. See, I don't do it for the health reason.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't do it because mine is more of a moral reason and due to the fact that because I lived with an animal for like 10 years and I formed a relationship and I saw that animal had feelings and that animal, like, do you get what I'm saying? I love that animal more than I did my own family. So what I'm saying is, if I can have that much love for an animal, then why would I eat another one? That's where I'm coming from. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but again, not all people are attached to animals, so maybe it's not a problem for them in that sense. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure. Like, these are the things that people will have to realize, man. And then it's
it all depends on, our lives are so unique, like, and different from each other. It's so complex that, like you say, everyone's right and wrong is
someone else is right and wrong.
Yeah, or whatever. But truly, like, whether you're doing something right or you're doing something wrong, like, the person knows in their heart whether they're doing something right or wrong. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that, man. Yeah, man. It's been that. It's deep, man. Like, I think like that. The argument that people have out there, it's like it does boil down to the individual. So at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel, that person's gonna go home and still eat how they eat. So then in the end, maybe this energy should be put into something more. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. There are bigger organizations out there and corporations that are putting way much more poison into a whole bunch of sentient beings, whether it be man, whether it be plants, whether it be animals. Do you know what I mean? And so there's no point in us arguing with each other when we should be looking over there and dealing with them lot. We're all looking over here. It's like, yeah, but what about these lot that are making money?
Well, a lot of people
and killing
say
people,
that,
killing
like,
all these sentient beings, and you know what I mean?
Yep, a lot of people do say that also, like, that the whole vegan thing has been placed into today's society by the government to create another divide as well, which may be possible. I'm not. Like, anything is possible, do you get what I'm saying? Because like we said, these people, they're magicians. So they do these they may, how can I say, have particular agendas to do stuff like this. But again, it's like, I guess everything is like mini religions in a way. It's just like, what kind of...
Do you believe?
What kind of... What attracts you at the end of the day? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what it all comes down to. Like, some people like Islam, some people like Buddhism, some people like Christianity, some people like Sikhism, or whatever it is. Like, at the end of the day, you can get to the same destination through many different routes. Do you get what I'm saying? So it just depends on...
All right, so let's get into these planets, man. And I wanted to ask you about, like, where did the name for the planets come from then? Like, who named... Mars, and Jupiter, and how did that come about?
You know what? Like, again, I haven't really looked into that, if I'm being honest. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and like make up an answer because I don't know.
No, I appreciate
but like, I know, like, for example, like the word Aries and all them names, they're all Greek influence, because I think the word for Mars is Aries in Greek.
Okay. And Mars rules Aries.
Yeah, but I think the actual word Ares, A-R-E-S, is the word for Mars in Greek. Actually, let me check that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get that wrong. 1 second.
Yeah, all good. Yo, shout out to the crew in the chat room, man, a.k.a. the Common Senses. Shout out to Chris Lahat in the building. What's going on, brother? Who else? Yamar has been going in. She's been dropping some gems for us.
Yeah.
PLK holding in there. It's good to see you, bro. Yo. Shout out to Mr. Green. We see you landed, bruv. Good to see you. Yeah, boy. Kenny Rebel. All right, people talking about blazing. What you lot blazing out there, man? You know what I mean? Let us know. People, Regantology knows, boy, the herb is healing. That's the thing we all know, innit? We can't disagree on that, eh? Yeah, you see the big smile there? You're like, yeah, can't lie there. So go on, what was you going to say, bro?
It is healing, because if it weren't for the herb, I wouldn't even be talking about this right now, so there you go. But yeah, Ares, A-R-E-S, was the ancient Greek god of war, which is obviously Mars. So yeah, I know, like, that's how, like, the whole Aries-Mars connection.
And so Mars, and then Ma is water, yeah?
Yeah, see, Mars is, because Mars is fire and water, because you got Mars ruling Scorpio, which is a water sign, and you got Mars ruling Aries, which is a fire sign, and obviously they're opposites. Do you get what I'm saying? Fire and water are opposites of each other.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you have that kind of side to it as well. Because another thing we have to realise is that the planets, for example, in the chart, they have a masculine placement and a feminine placement. So, for example, we'll go through them. So, Mars in Aries would be masculine because it's in a fire sign. But Mars in Scorpio would be feminine because water is a feminine element. So you see it has its polarity as well. So same with Venus. Venus in air, which is Libra, Venus in Libra, that's masculine. But Venus in Taurus, where it also rules, would be feminine because it's an earth sign. Same with Mercury. Mercury in Gemini is masculine. Mercury in Virgo is feminine. Jupiter in Pisces is feminine. Jupiter in Sagittarius is masculine. And you got that with all. Saturn in Capricorn is feminine. Saturn in Aquarius is masculine. So you can see how those planets also have kind of a polarity within them as well.
Yo, that was deep, boy. Jesus, drop some fire for that. Woo.
You get what I'm saying? So, like,
Mem DVG.
Like, for example, like,
Jeez.
it's weird. This is the thing with sometimes, like, people define things like, oh, Mars is a masculine energy. Yeah, it is, but it's like even us, for example, like, all people are not just. Obviously, our bodies, we're male, but we have a left brain and a right brain, which is masculine and feminine.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? So even in us, we have feminine qualities. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we live in the world of polarity. So it's just like, you know, the yin yang symbol.
Mm-hmm.
In the black section, you have a white dot, and in the white section, you have a black dot.
Mm.
So what that's saying is that either sex or either gender still has a part of the other gender in them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's in the yin yang symbol at the end of the day.
Wow, that's deep, boy.
So
yeah,
just
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah,
You
so
just look at it, think it's an eye. That's it. Like, oh, it looks
yeah,
like a funny little
because
thing.
you know, like the word hermaphrodite.
Mm.
Obviously, a hermaphrodite is someone who is both male and female.
Yeah.
Well, that's connecting the word of Hermes and Aphrodite. Hermaphrodite.
Hermaphrodite. Ooh,
Hermes and Aphrodite, which is Mercury and Venus. Hermes is Mercury and Aphrodite is Venus.
Seen. And that's
some etymology. We're getting back onto the subject now.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, like name some of the words that you've been really surprised at the true meaning of them when like digging deep into the etymology. Like what are certain words that have come up? Like obviously government was probably a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, let me see. I've written some down. I've got some written down here.
Mm.
Where else have we got? 1 second.
We're right.
But another thing I do, because I know a few different languages, I like connecting words in different languages and seeing how they've got a common, like, you know, like the one I told you in our call yesterday about gaffer and the goat. And
oh yeah, break that one down, man. That was crazy.
Okay, so in Welsh, the name for a goat is called gaffer. It's spelled Gafr. Right.
Gafr.
So
okay.
gaffer, or I don't know how it's pronounced, but
Gaffer.
yeah.
Gaffer.
So
Gaffer.
so in astrology, the goat corresponds with the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And obviously we know Saturn, the archetype of Saturn is like the boss or the father or Kronos, old man time, the wisdom, the guy who knows everything, basically. So then, but when you look at the word gaffer in English, it means boss, the gaffer.
Yeah.
Yep, the boss.
So then, obviously, and I said like gaffer, if someone's a gaffer or a boss, it means they're the head or they're on top.
Yeah.
But the word for head in Turkish is kafa, which is the same word, but the G and K are interchangeable.
Oh yeah, like his head on the border, right?
Yeah,
Jeez.
so you can see there are 3 different words in 3 different languages, but their root meanings are all similar. They're all the same. And then you get, like I said, P and F are interchangeable. So then from the word kafa or kafa, gaffer, you get the word kappa, which is the 10th letter in the Greek alphabet, and Capricorn is the 10th sign. So then that's where you get the origin of Capricorn from the Greek alphabet, because it's the 10th letter is called Kappa, and the 10th sign is called Capricorn. So these are other things you can do in relation to words to kind of think, oh right, that makes sense. Like for example, the word for fish in Welsh is called pysgod.
Pysgod.
Yeah, well, Pisces, isn't it? Pisces is a fish. So you can see like a correlation there. And obviously P, we were saying P and F are interchangeable. So that Pis, if you change it to an F, would then be Fis, which would be like fish.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying, like with interchangeables, when you know what is in, like for example, Like anything with BLE or PLE, like pole, ball, they're all like similar. Like for example,
Bell.
yeah, bell. Like you got red shift and blue shift words, for example. So a red shift word would be like a word like with like root, for example, because ROOT, or just say ROT, rot.
Rot.
In German is red, means red.
Oh, it means red.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you
And
say
obviously
rot.
the root chakra
Rothschild.
is red.
Mm.
So then you know that ROT or things with like or ROD or like for example another one that you can correlate with a redshift word would be like for example you get a word like rose, yeah, ROSE, but you could change that for rust, which is also to do with red, RUST. So the rose, rust, what other ones would there be?
Ruddy.
Sorry?
Ruddy.
Yeah.
That means red.
Exactly. So
Red, even red.
Red.
You can do stuff like that. So they would be like red shift words, but blue shift words would be stuff like blue, pole, ball, because ball and blue are pretty much the same words, but with some of the letters flipped around. Do you get what I'm saying? So you can look at it in that way as well. Like, for example, the word apple in Welsh is afal. So again, you got that P and F interchangeable. And then from you can get words like phallic and palace. They would all be similar words.
For apple.
No, what I'm saying, because of the P and F.
Yeah, the P and the F.
P and the F are interchangeable. So, like apple in English is AP, but apple in Welsh is AF. But then from like words like
German's apfel.
Apfel, that's it.
In German, it's APFEL.
Yeah, apfel.
Yeah, apfel. Yeah. So it's just again like clocking little things, and it's all experimentation and just literally, bro. I'll get my board out and I'll just write things and swap things around. It just depends on your personality. I'm a person that likes to dig deep, so and just because I'm interested in languages and letters. Like, see what we've etymology is such a big language, such a big subject, should I say? You could go on forever and ever and ever. Like, even the word etymology is basically the same as etymology, because the A and the E are interchangeable. So all etymology is talking about atoms. It's etymology because all them sounds are different atoms.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just, or for example, like Adam, like the word Eden and Adam are the same word.
Eden.
Because, Eden, like as in the Garden of Eden. Because A and E are interchangeable. So the E becomes, the A from Adam becomes an E. The D stays the same. The E swaps with the A again, and N and M are interchangeable as well, which I forgot to tell you. Yeah, M and N can also be interchangeable. Because in Spanish, the word for Adam is Adan with an N. Adan.
Adan.
So, but that's because the M and the N are interchangeable.
So do you think? All right. So let's try and think about like how it came about that these words would be so connected without people realizing. Do you think it came from like...
It's because everything, there's a saying that Santos says, all is atum, which means that everything originated from one language, but just kind of, like a tree has many branches, it spreads out, but they're all still a part of the same tree. And like the rainbow, as a whole, it's a rainbow, but it's also individuated with different frequencies, which creates different lights. So it's just, that's the analogy I would give, if that makes sense.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, that is interesting, man. All right, there's a question here, I think.
Yeah.
EPTV. So is root a lower vibrational word, whereas crown is higher vibrational and different sounding, creating higher or lower frequencies?
Yeah, because crown...
In between the chakras as such, yeah.
Yeah, because crown is your crown chakra, it's chronos. It's to do with time, whereas root is like something that's... yeah, it is a lower, because the root is in the ground. It's more to do with matter, whereas your head is in the air. So it's in a less dense medium. Does that make sense? Because the root of a plant is in the earth, so it's more denser. Hence, that's correct, because the red chakra...
Yeah, red, yeah.
The red is a more denser vibration than blue and purple.
Yeah, and blue represents
you
sky.
could say that, yeah. That would be correct.
Wow.
From my understanding. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's heavy, man. That's a really good question as well.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Hit us up in the chat room, man. Common Senses. If you got any questions out there from Mem DVG, hit us up, because yeah, we've been breaking down some really interesting little bits and bobs here, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to let me have a look at my notes, for example, see if there's, because you know what, bro, there's so many things you could go on and on. It's just like,
yeah, there's a lot, and also that I wonder about other languages, because you know, pretty much it's sort of languages around Europe, like the Latin-based languages that seem to really sync up a lot. But then when you're bringing in the Turkish, and I'd like to know if there's like any East Asian or Asian languages as well that.
I've done that as well, man.
I've
connected them as well. Like, for example, the word for Mars in the Hindi language is Mangalaya. But the word for fire in Turkish is Mangal, so it's the same word.
Mangalaya, yeah. Yo, do you know what? When I was in Thailand, yeah, fai, they say fai for fire. For fai, they say fai, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nah, they say me fai.
Oh, right.
They say me fai, and they're like, what? And it's like, oh, give me the fire. Like, and I was like, oh, fire, that sounds, and in French, I think it's fur. Isn't it?
Fur, right, okay.
And then obviously in English it's fire, so it's very linked up.
Yeah, probably that connects to like, like the fire ratio as well. I don't know if you know about what the fire ratio is.
The golden ratio.
Yeah.
Oh, the fire, pie, yeah, fire.
Yeah,
people
pie,
say fire or pie. Ah.
Fee or fire.
Faux.
Yeah.
Fee, fire, faux. Well, that must link in somewhere.
Yeah, it must do, because I guess the first element in creation is fire, because it's like the spark, or hence they say there was a big bang. Do you get what I'm saying? Which I agree with and don't agree with, like in the sense that, like they say, everything came from nothing. It's actually the opposite. Everything come from everything, because how can something come from nothing? It's like a seed, for example. A seed of apple has the potential to make millions of other apple trees. So it's still something. It didn't come from nothing. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, I kind of disagree with the whole Big Bang, that everything came from nothing.
So, in your opinion, life is eternal? Like, this is just an eternal thing that became and then is ongoing?
Yeah, that's the way I see it, as a cycle, rather than, because a cycle is a circle. That's another bit of etymology for you there as well, yeah. Cycle and circle, the same.
Cycle, circle.
Cycle.
Yeah.
Cycle, cyclone.
Cycle, yeah.
Collide.
But, yeah, I mean, like, because it's just like, for example, bro, like, when you write a rap, for example, before it becomes physical, it's metaphysical because it's just in your brain and like it's just an idea. But then you make that like hence in the Bible, the word becomes flesh. Do you get what I'm saying? So you make it into a physical thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So it didn't come from nothing. You might think, oh, the sound just came out of nothing. No, it didn't come from nothing. It came from everything. Because in your brain, you have all the potential to create whatever you want. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the way I kind of see it. Where as like the transcendental is everything. Whereas, and everything comes from that source. It's just like, for example, bro, like, if you buy a phone, yeah, and it's got nothing on there, no apps or anything, right? And then 5 months down the line, you've got all these apps on there and all these programs or whatever.
Yeah.
Your phone's not going to weigh any heavier or any lighter because the information is not actually...
It's not physical.
Yeah, it's not physical. It's metaphysical. So it's the same concept. You can use that as an analogy. So like my feelings are not inside my brain or inside my body. My body is just broadcasting it. It's a receiver. Do you get what I'm saying? Because obviously, if I've got a telly and I smash the telly's not going to work. But it don't mean the signal's gone. It just means that the signal can't be transmitted because the vehicle it's trying to go into doesn't work. So that's how I would explain like consciousness and the way I see how things work in a very simple way.
Yeah. Nah, I get you. Definitely need bombs for that, boy.
But yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, you gone in, bruv.
I don't want to like speak too much because I feel like I've like waffled on like for ages. So if anyone wants to, I'd rather like get some questions.
Reagantology is asking, are there any books you can recommend to like learn more about etymology and astrotheology and stuff like that?
You know what? I haven't read any books to learn all this. I've just watched videos and kind of experimented myself. But if you want to watch stuff on language, Manly P. Hall's got good stuff on language. Rudolf Steiner, I would say watch Santos Bonacci. He does amazing. That's where I learn all my methods of learning how to connect words and yeah. But in terms of books, the books that I read are more in relation to like astrology and theology and ancient wisdom and stuff like that. But in terms of etymology, I think there is a book. What is it called again? It's one that Santos always talks about. I forget the name of it. But yeah, no, if I'm being honest, I haven't read any books about etymology. It's weird, bro. With me, it's like I do read books, but a lot of it is just by like actually deciphering it myself. And I'm not saying that to try and fucking boost myself up. I'm just being honest. Like a lot of my findings are just, I don't read books. I just kind of, okay. It's like an aha moment, if that makes sense. Like a lot of the time. But
a good thing to do is to get the Etymology online website up.
Yeah, Etym online. I use that.
It is really good. Yeah. They're not very like they're not biased one way or another. They're very neutral about everything.
Yeah, we look at that a lot with my brother when we're talking about a word.
I just have it. I have it on the phone all the time.
Yeah, I got the app. Like, it's fun, man.
Yeah,
it's just like, what does that mean?
Yeah, just look at the root of it, and you get quite a lot out of it. They give you examples and all that. So yeah,
and scroll all the way down because sometimes they hide all the really meaty stuff at the bottom. Yeah, like, with a lot of all them.
But it's good. It is. I don't know who runs it. I think it. When I first started going on there weren't many words on there. So I think I was like quite an early adopter. But I think it was one guy started it and it's got bigger and bigger. And I can't see how I don't think they make money doing it. I think it's just like you know, a love project.
I guess so, yeah.
But it doesn't seem associated with any of the dictionaries and all those people.
Yeah.
Because if you go on all those sites, they're all just...
Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes when you type a word in Google, it will give you a little, like, history of, like, where it... But the thing is, another important thing in learning etymology is knowing different languages yourself. That's what helps me a lot.
Yeah. Once I learned a second language, I think you start seeing all those different roots and connections and all that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's true.
It's because like I grew up in my household, we just naturally spoke 3 languages. So I guess that's what helped me kind of get into all this and tap into it. Like obviously I spoke English at school with all my friends and growing up, but like my mum and dad are from Cyprus, so they spoke Greek and Turkish. So knowing them 2 languages as well, like especially Greek, there's a lot of like like Greek words in sorry bro?
No, that's right, I didn't say anything.
Oh right, sorry, I thought you said something.
You said there was a lot of Greek words, like because knowing both languages. Yeah, like for example, you know, like the word Gomorrah, like as in Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, the word Gamor in Greek means to have sex or to fuck. Well, Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom is your backside. So it's talking about your root chakra. When it's talking about Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, it's not talking about an actual place called Sodom and Gomorrah. It's talking about being in your lower animal nature self. So again, it's just, it's weird, man. It's just like, because sometimes I explain this stuff and I think, people must think, he's chatting shit, man. Yeah, like, so Mr. Green was like, isn't Manly P. Hall a Mason?
Isn't Manly P. Hall a Mason?
Yeah, wasn't he a Mason? He's passed away now, isn't it?
Yeah, he was a Mason, yeah.
But it's like, so what is that? Because really, I mean, it seems like he was giving out some of the secret knowledge. Or was he, like, you know, how much
that's what I'm saying. Like, again, it just goes to, not all Masons are bad people. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, he might have learned it and thought, you know what, I'll be doing I'll be like doing a disservice if I don't share it with people. Because again, I've watched like actual Masons talk, and they say that the true doctrine of Masonry is about the betterment of humanity and society. So maybe actually Masons are supposed to share it. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's just more recently that they're not sharing it because they want to be an exclusive club and keep all the power to themselves. Whereas maybe there are Mason sects that are not like that. Do you get what I'm saying? But I am aware that Manly P. Hall was supposedly a Mason. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's like Dan was saying the other week about, like, you should always, you know, keep your eye on everything.
Read your enemies. Read all your enemies' work as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because even if he was a Mason, for example, let's just say he was a Mason and he was evil. Just out of argument's sake.
Yeah.
What would be wrong with studying your enemy, like you just said?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so this is another thing
it.
that people don't think of. Like I told you about, I posted something the other day on Facebook, and people saying, "Oh, you're a Luciferian and you're a Kabbalist," but like, for example, I'm not hiding it from anyone. I'm exposing it. So that can't make me a Mason, because, or what people would think, like being in a secret society, because I'm not keeping it secret. I'm sharing it to the world, so everyone can be enlightened.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the intent of what you do with the knowledge, rather than the actual knowledge itself. So if I knew all this knowledge, for example, but I didn't come out on shows and share it with people and try and enlighten people, then I would be selfish because I'd think, oh, why should I let everyone else know? Let me keep it to myself and I can be powerful. But no, that's not what I'm about. Like, it's not the knowledge you've got to be afraid of. It's the way that people use the knowledge.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, Masons and all these secret societies, they do use astrology and they do use all these esoteric things, but they're using it for a selfish reason. Whereas in the syncretism society and the people I'm with, we're sharing it for the betterment of humanity, so people don't stay ignorant and can work around this false system we're in, basically. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, navigate through it.
It's just, yeah, man, it's like, the thing is with these subjects, like, they're so complex and deep. It's just like, sometimes I feel like I'm even doing a disservice to it by trying to talk about it in 2 hours. Because it didn't take me 2 hours to learn all this shit. It took me 6-7 years. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, it's just like, some people say, oh, could you teach me astrology? Or could you teach me all this stuff? Yeah, I could. If you've got 7 years of time, then I can teach you everything I've learned. But, like, obviously, you got to put the work in to kind of get to understand it at the same time. Do you get what I'm like with anything? If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get rewarded. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, for you, for example, Mice, like, with your music and that, you've put the work in, so you get bookings and you get to go to Australia, or you've got to go to these places, or, do you get what I'm saying? Because you've put the work in. So, like, with me, for example, like, I rap and I do music, but I haven't got anywhere with it because I haven't put the work in. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's the same with anything, I suppose. Like, if you don't dedicate any time to it, then you won't get it. But then again, it just depends on, not everyone cares about all this shit.
Yeah,
like,
we're all different, man.
Saying? Like, so, yeah, it just all depends, bro. Like, it depends on the individual. And like I said, I just feel like every single human being is on their own unique personal journey. And that can be, like, for example, your mum and dad or people in your family can be your brothers and sisters, for example, but yous are on 2 total different paths. You don't agree on certain things. So even, like, within the families, you have disputes and disagreements. Never mind with other random people you don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
yeah, no, I hear that, man. Mother lovers, if you lot want to get more info out of what Mehmet does, MDVG, you can go to syncretismsociety.com and check out his lessons on there, or you can go to Conscious Minds TV on YouTube and check out some more of his presentations as well.
Yeah, or also, like, I post stuff on Facebook as well, like, on my personal page.
Yeah, what's your page on there?
Yeah, it's just my name, Mem DVG, basically.
Okay.
So,
where else is a good place for people to get hold of you? Anywhere if they can ask questions?
Yeah, I guess if people want to email me, they can email me at consciousmindstv@gmail.com. I know it's a bit of a flipping mouthful, but yeah, that's another place. If you want to, like, or even if you just want to ask me any questions, like, I'm always free or always open to answer people's questions at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not a fucking professor or think like I know it all or whatever. At the end of the day, I'm just an average person like everyone else who just researches. Do you get what I'm saying? I've got no fucking qualifications or... Do you get what I'm saying? It's just that...
You don't need them, man. You know
I don't need them, which is correct. It's just that the way it works in what we do is just... people acknowledge each other, that if they are spreading good information or if they're not. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's how it kind of works in our kind of circle. Like, for example, with Santos, we had a show. We connected, so he's kept that connection alive and got me involved in his projects. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's not because
sure,
I'm like, and like, bro, trust me, I've just started on this. There's so much shit that I probably don't know, or that I'm gonna find out, or even maybe 10 years down the line, I might even have a different view on what I've got now. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because 6 years ago or 7 years ago, if you told me I'd be a vegan, I'd tell you you're fucking crazy. But things just changed. Do you get what I'm saying? So, again, that's another thing with what I like to say to people, like, don't be afraid of being wrong, because that's the whole point of life and learning, and you live and learn. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's not, like, how can I say, there's no rules that, oh, because I've said this in the past that I have to stick to it. No. If you come to the realization within yourself that you was wrong, then you can just admit to being wrong and put your hands up and say, look, back in the day I used to think this and that, or I used to preach this, but as I've done more research or I've looked into things more, I found I was wrong. And I think you're more of a human or more of a man by admitting and dropping your ego, than rather than just going along with something because you don't want to look like you was putting out the wrong information. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how I always try to give advice to people. Like, don't be scared of being wrong or making mistakes, because that's just life at the end of the day.
That's some knowledge right there, boy. You're right, man. You don't lose, you learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
EPTV asks, he said, ask Mem what he thinks of Alice Bailey and her work. Some people say
her book. I've actually got one of her books, yeah.
What's it about? He said some people say it's quite negative, but it's good work, he says.
I've just knocked down my old shelf.
I thought that was the ghost of Alice Bailey then.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't really read it, if I'm being honest. I've got the book. It's an astrology book, but I haven't read it, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
The good astrology books that I would recommend for people is what's it called?
The Light of Egypt.
Yeah, that's the one. The Light of Egypt by Thomas H. Burgoyne. A good book I read is Mystical Astrology by Ibn Arabi. It's like from a medieval Islamic astrologer, and he like kind of explains a bit of astrotheology on like how particular prophets correlate with particular planets. So, for example, Abraham is Saturn, Moses is Jupiter, Aaron is Mars, Enoch is the Sun, Joseph is Venus, Mercury is Jesus, and Adam is the moon. That's what he says in his book, basically, in that book. So, like, it just depends on...
Yeah, that's baffling. It changes the whole...
What type of... Because the thing is, even with astrology, you've got more like astrotheology, where it kind of unites religion and astrology, and then you've just got purely the study of astrology.
Yeah, okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? So... Personally, I combine it all because it's all, hence the word syncretism.
Yeah.
Things together.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I like doing. Rather than saying, oh, that's wrong and this is right, the whole point of syncretism is finding the common root or the common theme between all religions and all languages, and because they do have a common root at the end of the day. It's just that because of the nature of life and evolution and things change, they get, maybe some could say they get corrupted or they get distorted, or because like even like us as humans, when we come into the world, we're pure, we're innocent, but then as we go along, we get corrupted.
Yeah.
By getting into like alcohol or getting into porn or getting into whatever it is. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's another thing we have to understand, that in the physical world, nothing will ever keep its true essence, if that makes sense, because it will always, because yeah, this is a temporal world. This world is a temporal world because we're here for a certain amount of time and then we're gone.
Your legacy you left behind. All the people that you left it behind for. Everything. You're gone. So just enjoy the time that you're here. Whatever you're doing, enjoy yourselves. You know what I mean?
You know what? I try to think that sometimes, like, oh, fuck it, why am I getting stressed out and all this and that? But at the end of the day, we're all humans. We have emotions. We have feelings. And the thing is, sometimes the way we feel might not necessarily be directly from us. It could be, like we were saying, influences from outside, like from other people.
Yeah.
Or what's going on in the world, or what's going on in your family environment. So there's so many factors, man. It's one big puzzle, but it's just trying to understand it and just get some kind of comprehension of it. Like, but even like sometimes, like when you think, oh, how did this all start? It's like, to me, like truly, although I know what I know, for example, it's still beyond comprehension to really know where everything came from, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like impossible to comprehend. Like, who created the universe? Or do we live in a simulation? Is there God? Is there not God? I mean, but there's something in the human being that I guess
he's always searching for the answer.
Yeah, it's like a little nagging thing that we need to know, if that makes sense. And that's something in us.
And there's a duality of, then do we need to know as well, innit? It's that push me, pull you. It's that tug of war between the two.
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, like, that's what I mean. You know, hence the saying, ignorance is bliss. Like, I get that saying. Like, it is to a degree, because if you don't know any better, then you're just happy, innit? Like, you don't know any better. But once you start, it's like with me, like, I would say, since I've become into what I'm into, I've met some amazing people, but at the same time, it's very painful. Because knowing what I know and not being able to just talk to anyone about it is quite hard. It's something you've got to kind of live with and try and work around it. And like you were saying, like, when you know the way things are run in a particular way, it's almost hard for you to get involved in that thing because you know that it's not right, or it's. Do you get what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, man.
Yeah, definitely. It is a tricky one, man. But at the end of the day, like, I guess, it's all a part of the journey. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly
like,
that, man. Exactly that, bruv.
It's just like, hence it's in the word again. Going back to etymology.
Yeah.
Like, when you're looking up things, you don't say I'm searching. You say I'm researching. So if you're if means you're doing it again. So that word would imply that if you're researching, maybe that we come here loads of times and we always researching. It's like a continuous cycle of you go and then you come back. But again, how will I ever know that? Or I can't prove that. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just
until then, it's a belief, innit? Until you can prove it, it's a belief.
You get what I'm saying? This could just be a fucking dream for all we know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Hey,
what I'm saying is,
If it is, I'm enjoying the dream. You know what I mean? At least it's not a
like,
nightmare. There could be nightmares going on that.
If a dream
imagine
can be
you have
so
a
real,
wet nightmare.
if a dream can appear so real, then what is
reality?
Now, what I'm saying is, what it wouldn't be beyond comprehension to say, well, this is a dream, because it might just be it might just be like a different dimension, like as in where it's more denser. Whereas when we're dreaming in the dream world, it's more in a metaphysical place. Maybe we have the ability to jump in between layers. I mean, again, who knows? Like, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt answering these like asking these questions. Like, some people might say, "Oh, it might fucking drive you crazy," and whatever. But again, I think that's all just to do with like maturity and trying, like what Dan said, balance. I think is the key word of the day, and we're in Libra as well. So.
Bam, there you go, man. Yo, Mem, it's been good catching up with you. Can we do it again? We got to do this again, bruv.
Yeah, whenever you want, bro. Just let me know, man. Yeah,
really appreciate your time, bruv, man. There's a lot of knowledge that you drop on us.
We've been talking for quite a long time, haven't we, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's
sorry,
fun,
guys, if I've been waffling on too long.
It flies by, doesn't it, when you're on? So.
Yeah, man. Nah, I really appreciate the time, bruv. Conscious Minds TV, my beloveds. And don't forget to hit up syncretismsociety.com. And yeah, I mean, get involved with the lessons, man, because there's a lot of knowledge there being dropped. So
yeah, there's loads, man. It's not just me. Like, I'm just one person that does videos on there. They've got like 20 people, all different stuff: yoga, exercise, health, astrology, maritime law and common law. It's all on there, man. Whatever you want, it's on there, man.
Sick, man. Yeah. People get involved, man. Yo, thanks, man. Bruv, we got to catch up again, man. I'll hit you up anyway, man, and we'll catch up.
Whenever you want, bro, just let me know.
Yeah.
And we can, if you want to pick a subject, and we can just kind of go on it. Sorry, the vegan part of it delved a bit off the subject, but again, like, we're just, it's just...
Nah, people enjoyed it. People enjoyed the conversation, bruv. Don't watch that, man.
We're just talking, so
exactly,
it's like
man.
Natural conversation. It can veer off into different places.
Yeah, exactly that, man. Yo, let's be out, man. Yo, thanks for getting involved, brother, man. That's Mem DVG. You lot hit him up with some claps, some fist bumps, some love hearts, whatever, fire, whatever emojis you can think of. Let them spread. You know what I mean? And show some love to Mem DVG. For coming through again, backed by popular demand. Dropping some bombs, boy. Jeez. Yes, bruv. Yeah, man. Yo. So it's that time, mother lovers. You know what I mean? Know some of you lot got work in the morning, so we ain't going to hold you lot too long. Shout out to my co-host, Dan DNA, for holding me down. You know what I mean? That was a smooth one. Yeah, he's a bit tired as well. It's time to go sleep. You know what I mean?
I've got growing to do.
You got that's it, innit? When you're sleeping. Oh, that's why he's talking about the meat. No, he's bulking. That's why he's talking about the meat like that. He's like, no, man, but yo, man's got to eat meat like all the time. Like,
don't put me off.
Some people always got to eat meat. Don't tell me. A drink from me, eat from me. Yo, meat. I've got meetings all this week. Yo, M is interchangeable with N, so you know I keep shit neat. I'm like neat all the time.
That's it, bro.
Yo. Yeah, man. Yo, shout out to all the crew, all the common senses that was in the chat room, man. Appreciate each and every one of you mother lovers every week, man. We'll be back next week, you know what I mean, for some shit you might never know nothing about. That was Mem DVG. My name is Mysdiggi. My co-host, Dan DNA. And we're out.